without a voice. And this was one of my toughest, this was definitely a tough lesson I had to go through. The school of rough knocks and whatever else that I could add to it. For anyone that's going through this, all I can say is do whatever you can to open up your throat, which is this is here over here, and never underestimate it, what's inside of it. And because whatever's in here, it affects all the lower chakras. And I say this humbly, I say this in a kind way, and I'm also expressing this from a lot of experience. At one point, I had mastered this very well as a commercial pilot, and it was a lot of tough love from the universe. That at one point I had to really break away from a lot of things, and it was the friction, it was the energy inside of me, because there's a lot of things for many years I simply didn't express properly. And I've come to the awareness that anything that's inside of me or anyone else, anything that's not properly expressed, especially what's on the chest or the energy, because everything, thoughts or feelings, they're energy. Thoughts are things, and I'm sharing this because it's something that I went through, and it was it was a painful lesson. So without a voice, it's like literally putting the brakes on a lot of doors, or it's like locking a lot of doors, and it's no way to live. So the moment, at one point, I started to learn how to use my voice. Thank God, thank you, universe, thank you for the breakthrough with this, and for the many others that have given me the extra kick with this. It was simply that from a younger age, I really didn't know any better, and I had an experience from a younger age, and instead of talking about it, there was a fear of it at one point. And that was, all I can say is that's no way to live. And from that experience, I wound up overcompensating it for it in other areas. And as a workaholic is one example, working literally 6 to 7 days a week. And I had expensive tastes. I enjoyed the good life. And working for a living nowadays, I trust that at one point in the days of working hard or working really, really hard, that needs to get phased out, because there's many people out there that have learned how to use their voice, and they're very successful. Not saying that in all cases, but from my observation, that is to apply that energy somewhere else, and the importance of opening up the throat chakra and expressing whatever's on the inside. Because when I have a voice, or when others have a voice, when I have a voice, let's use me as the example. It introduces me with who I am. It introduces my personality, with my tonality. Is it a pleasant voice? Is it upsetting? Is it an upsetting type of voice, or is it a pleasant type voice? And I emphasize this because the conversation or anything that's expressed well, there's an energy to that, and expressing it opens up a lot of doors. Communicating opens up a lot of doors. When things are not expressed well, especially when it's not expressed well here, and anything that's internalized for too long, at one point that energy has to go somewhere. And that was something that I had gone through for many years, until at one point it had affected my health. And this is where I had one of the bigger ultimatums with the universe, and it was simply there to say, hey, with what you're doing physically, and it's great, however, the basics of this wasn't mastered well. And the basics are everything. So it's like having the foundation. The foundation must be set in properly, and if the foundation's rough, or if the foundation's already crumbling, or if what's on the inside, and if I knew on the inside there was something I really had to express, or there was a truth on the inside, or I felt this, that I had to get it out, and if I had kept bottling it in, that wouldn't be serving me and wouldn't be serving anybody else. And I sure wouldn't have this video out right now talking about this. And I express this because somebody told me a long time ago that, hey, Stephen, there's a lot of people in the graveyard, they wish that they expressed with what was inside of them. They really, really wish they had the guts to just say things that may have upset a lot of other people, or stepping, not, I'm not saying so much as stepping on other people's toes, but it was to really open up and express with how they feel about things. And having that voice, it allows one to be heard, to be seen, and appreciating the qualities with that. Because with having a voice, it opens up a lot of doors. The ability, which was a big lesson that I learned there, the ability of expressing properly, and especially if it's like a silly type question, I want to share that it might be silly, and it was silly for me at one point, and until I gave myself the permission, like with asking, with whatever was on the back of my mind, and I started to express it, saying, hey, I have this type of a question. And it could have been a really simple question. However, the moment I expressed it and I got it off my chest, the moment I said, hey, I have no freaking clue like what we're talking about here. I needed to have a clear understanding of what was going on here. And the moment I expressed it and I got a clear answer from it, it released all the friction from me. It literally freed me from whatever was going on inside of me. Now, for some, this may be, well, Stephen, like what are you getting at here? And I'm sharing that was a big breakthrough for me. Without a voice, I've come to the understanding, or the very, very clear understanding, that I saw this with people growing up, and I found many years later that some people were like, hey, Stephen, I wish I was doing what you were doing. And I was kind of taken back by it. And I was like, man, I used to look up to other people going, man, I'd love to do what you're doing. And they had no clue about it. So when I'm mentioning this, like without a voice, I've learned that, like, well beyond college or university, I mean, there's skill sets that a few years ago, when I started getting into the personal development type work, I knew that when I got into this, I could see the value in spending $5,000 or $10,000, $15,000 to learn from somebody with the simple thing of expressing. Now, I'm sure for many it's going to go in through one ear and out the other, but for those that are really hungry or really driven or motivated, I mean, that was a game changer for me. And the moment I started to release whatever was here many years ago, and for me, that was like a major wall. That was like a major fear. And I was good at what I was doing. I was good at it. As whatever I was doing in the past, I mean, I enjoyed it. But what I really had to get over with is, it wasn't so much the surface talk, it was the superficial talk and all the masks from underneath it. I share this because as I started stepping into the healing world, and we're all here as a spiritual being, not as a human being, but as a spiritual being. The soul, when we show up here as a soul ambassador, we all have the 7 main chakras. And to keep this in simple terms, it's important that one is expressing things well. It's important that one is able to articulate, pronunciate, communicate effectively, which is a big lesson, which was and is a big lesson for me. And it's really being in one's power with this. It opens up a lot of doors. And I really want to express this video today because for anyone that's going through something like this, it's not a joke. And especially if it's something deep on the inside, and if you're burning about it, or if you're boiling on the inside and deep down inside you're very, very passionate about something, or having a very, very deep hunger with it. And that was something that I went through. And I really had to work at it. And it took a lot of courage, it took a lot of guts. And then one day I said, up with this, I'm going to keep moving with this. And it's to inspire many others that with whatever it is, as there's no judgment, there's no blame with this. This is a tough school ground, and it's simply to break free of whatever those fears are. And I'm very, very grateful that the universe and my soul, they gave me like a good wake-up call with this. And because every one of us, we all have something very, very important to share. And there's a time to speak, there's a time for me to listen, there's also a time for the silence with it. And it's to use it proportionately, or to use it or exercise it wisely with this. So, there. It feels better, and if you'd like to share or comment the video with this down below, I'd most appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for today. Be kind with yourself, treat each other well, and until next time, we'll see you then. Take care.